Well, we're excited to have you on the show. We're visiting with Gramps. Welcome to the Mental Margarita Show. Gramps is a singer, songwriter, producer, all kinds of things have been in your lifetime. We're going to talk about some of your adventures and your journey
Sure.
with music and some of the stuff you're working
Absolutely.
on now. You were born in Santa Barbara, California. Your journey led you to Florida. Tell us a little bit about the
Yes.
early days, growing up
Right.
and
Well, I mean, it's California. I mean, most of the coastline is idyllic to begin with. So growing up in that area, of course, I was exposed to the coast and the inland mountains, and it was very beautiful. It was gorgeous. But like anybody that grows up in their hometown, they're just anxious to leave. Doesn't matter where it's at. At some point in time, we're just ready to move on and try something different rather than staying where we're at. So I wound up joining the military, wound up joining the Air Force, where I was stationed in 3 places. I was stationed at San Antonio. Of course, everybody goes to San Antonio that's in the Air Force. Took my technical training there as well. Then I was stationed at Upper Hayford in England. And then my last tour of duty was in Yokota Air Base in Japan. And that's where I met my beautiful wife. It was in Japan. So we got married. We moved back here. Had kids. First time up was twins. 2 daughters. And then a few years later, my son came along. But I decided we needed to move here to the East Coast, to Florida, near the Kennedy Space Center, which fortunately enough, I did get picked up by those guys, just before we returned to launch. Now, I loved working the space program. I think it was a wonderful experience. Nothing like watching a space shuttle lift off from about 1.5 miles from the launch pad. I mean, that was just an incredible experience. My kids got to experience that. My mother and father-in-law got to experience that before they passed. And unless you're right there and just feel that thumping in your chest from those solid rocket engines.
wow.
Yeah, that is an experience all unto itself. During this whole time, I've been writing music. Okay. Poems for nothing else, if you want to call them that.
But this music thing happened really early on, from like junior high school age.
Yes,
So you
yeah,
were
from high
already
school,
playing
right.
instruments
Yes. Yes, I started out as a drummer in the high school band. About a year later, I moved into my first brass instrument, which was a trombone. From that point forward, whatever instrument we needed that for that season, I would actually pick up and learn to play. I was writing music at that time for the band. I did a rendition of Star Wars for our marching band. Cause of course that was in the '70s, Star Wars.
that was the piece. John Williams is one of my favorites.
Absolutely. So, and I did other little pieces here and there for the band, but, like I said, in my bio, I had to, once I graduated and was on my own, as it were, I had to give up a little bit. I had to give up that music writing for a while, because I had to get on with real life. I got my degree while I was working at the Space Center. I got my degree in computer systems. And when we saw the writing on the wall, most of us did. We all knew that the space shuttle program was coming to an end. It'd been launching for over 20 years. We had over 120 missions. We knew that eventually something was going to happen that was going to take it down. So a lot of us went ahead, got our degrees, and moved out of the space program just for a sense of safety, which I went into software engineering. I loved working in the computer industry I was a tech nerd from the time I was about 8 years old. So I've always been, if it's technology, I'm in it, and I love to play with it, love to understand it, love to know what it does. So that eventually led me to synthesizers and, creating music through a digital platform rather than with pencil and paper, and makes trial and error so much easier. I can just, if I have a problem with a bit of chords or some melodies, then I'll work through it in my synthesizer, because I can just go back and change it anytime I want, to get that to work the way I want it to sound. So after that, like I said, I retired, and that freed up a lot more time for me to be able to write music. and to be able to just enjoy the process of writing music. So we released our first album last year around March called Digital World, and then we released our second album about 4 months later, and that was called Dark Spaces. And then our last album that you know of called Red Blooded American we released about a month ago, just a little over a month ago.
Now, the single Red Blooded American was just featured on the Second Opinion Sports Show, the halftime
Yes, it sure
segment,
was.
which airs in Eastern North Carolina on the CW. So, when you say we putting out these albums, is this a band, like a full band that you're in charge of? Or?
No. I'm strictly studio work.
Okay.
My daughter does vocals for me. My wife does the business end of it. My son does the physical part of it, the studio builds that we're doing. But no, that's all. I don't have a band. It's just me and my daughter that sometimes does vocals for me. And we all do it inside the studio that I have here at home. And I just, I cut, chop, produce, master, tweak all of it right here on my trusty PC. So
that's awesome. It's a family affair. I love that.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, there was something about you're preparing something for the Japanese market. What's that about?
Yeah. My wife, of course, is Japanese, and we travel to Japan at least once or twice a year. And I got into the good fortune of meeting someone over there that was a promoter that liked the kind of music, the trance and EDM music that I write. He did like a couple of pieces I did and asked if I wanted to do a EDM tour of some clubs in Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka.
Wow.
And I said, yeah, I'd love to do that. Any exposure I can get into the public light, I'll do that. I want people to hear my music. Right now we're working on our 6th album, which is actually an album it's a trance album, which is where I love to live, is in trance, that features traditional Japanese instruments in the music. So that's coming out quite well. I like that. Some of the instruments really lends itself to that type of music. It might disappoint your viewers to know this, but I did the country album because someone told me I couldn't. Someone said, you can't do country. You're an EDM artist. You can't do country. Well, I said, here, hold my beer. And I said, I'm gonna, and I went and made Red Blooded American.
Jukebox stopped and the room went still. You could feel that tension rise and chill. I said, you don't like it here, there's a door. This ain't the place for your kind no more. Pink hair tried his best to stare me down, but his left his glare don't play in this town. I just smiled to the long slow sip, said talk's cheap, best button that lip. They drifted out quiet through the evening haze, crowds glare burning through their lip, this glaze. Bartender laughed, said that's how it's done. I said just standing up for where we're from. This bar's my church, this land's my creed. Faith and freedom's all a man needs. You can talk your talk, I'll walk my way, standing tall for the red, white, and brave.
So, Gramps, how do we follow you? How does the audience did all our new fans that are hearing your music, experiencing it, how do they keep track of what you're doing?
I do have a website called at https:// Gramps, Gramps dash music, music.com.
So it's so nice to be visiting with you again on the show. Brimstone Jewelry, Kim and Bill Kane are with us, owners and founders, and there's some updates we are excited to hear about. Some things that have been cooking in the oven for a little while here. So welcome back to the show. We're so excited to have you. How are you two doing today?
We're doing great. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So the last time we spoke, and it's been a little bit of time since we've seen you on the show, you've made some moves, and this has become a family operation, and we're still seeing you out and about. But give us a little scoop on what's happening at Brimstone these days.
Well, we decided we wanted to move out of Vegas. We were there for 37 years. We're both retired now. Well, not retired, but on Social Security. We're not working a job. So we came out to Arizona and we bought a little bit of land and we have a beautiful home here. And we're semi-retired. We're still very much involved with the business.
Now, there was also another development where you're working with David's Bridal as a vendor, as a preferred vendor. Tell us a little bit how that came about.
Well, I know that Bill had started communicating. We had tried a few times to get in, and it was a little bit difficult. Over the years, we've tried a couple of times. But this time we had a response and we had a conference call with somebody with David's, and it just transpired. It happened pretty quickly. We are on their website now as a preferred vendor, which is, pretty exciting. And we're also in their stores in the display cases. And we do events there now monthly. We do events at David's.
Congratulations. That's exciting news. And it feels good when you've been doing something for a while and to get recognized for the quality that you provide. And by the way, folks, Brimstone Jewelry is known for their high quality costume jewelry. Beautiful work that you folks do. The things that you pick out and put together are stunning.
I'd say at least half of our jewelry is considered bridal jewelry. We have just a great selection, so it was nice to be able to get into a store that does, just sells bridal, which is, really very exciting.
And jewelry is great for any time of the year for gifts, and you have periodic seasonal sales. So, your website's full of goodies. I was just on there earlier today looking around and seeing some wonderful things. We have holidays all through the year, from Easter to Mother's Day to Father's Day. There's something for every occasion, which is
Bill
really
does a great job. He does the website and he's always on there updating and putting specials on. So I'm really proud of him because he's done a great job.
And for the audience that is watching that didn't meet you the first time around, tell the audience a little bit of why Brimstone is different from the rest. What makes you stand out apart from the rest of the costume jewelry business?
So, first of all, there's a lot of people that don't offer 24 karat gold and or rhodium. Usually it's sterling silver or it's 14 karat. But it's just not plated. It's literally filled. The core of the jewelry is a bronze. It's not a pot metal. It's not nickel. Therefore, it's tarnish resistant. And it just wears, feels, and looks like solid gold. It don't do the green effect on your skin after you wear it.
And we wear all of it just so we can test it out. We wear it, we swim in it, we bathe in it.
And then, of course, all of our stones are high quality cubic zirconium. There's some colored ones, the birthstones and so forth. But it's made, it's very high quality. It's made very well. So it's just difficult to find
a higher quality costume.
companies that offer the rhodium, which rhodium right now, from my understanding, is about $7,800 an ounce.
It's on sky high, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course gold has doubled. It's like $4,500.
We've definitely found a niche because the gold and rhodium being as expensive as they are, people are looking for other ways to wear nice jewelry.
Right. And and have that one of a kind piece that's going to last. There's plenty of cheap stuff out there, but you want something that's higher quality that's going to last. And especially that special or from a special day or special occasion,
Yeah, we do have a store in Glendale, Arizona, which is the David's Bridal there. And then we have the Henderson store in Las Vegas. But on the website, of course, it's nationwide.
course, Bill updates the website, so if you want to see us in person, you'll know where we are. We've also added on our grown kids, my son and daughter-in-law, because we've stepped back a little bit and they were interested in taking over the business, and they've gone wild. They go all over the place. They like the out-of-town excursions where they've gone for 2 or 3 days and they have fun with it.
That's great. And you know how nice to keep it in the family, you know?
Right.
And that they enjoy it as well. And, you know, and then you get a little vacation and you disguise that hard work as a little getaway.
Yeah.
Right, right. And then I'd like to add that we do have a lifetime warranty in our jewelry. So if something did happen, if a stone fell out or something happened to your jewelry, we'd be glad to replace it. That's on all of our jewelry, and we have a form that you fill out and we just replace it, no questions asked. So not only are you getting a high quality piece of jewelry, but if something did happen to it, you'd get a replacement. This year, especially because America is celebrating 250, and it's a huge celebration, and we are going to be featuring a lot of the American patriotic jewelry. We have lots of it that you'll see online also.
And you know, there's no better time to remind folks of the wonderful country that we live in and are a part of as citizens, and those that have joined us at different parts, stages of their life. You know, we're very blessed to be in America and to live and work here. So,
Yes, we are. Absolutely.
well, we've enjoyed visiting with you today. Thank you for coming back on the show and telling us, sharing those exciting updates with us. David's Bridal, keep an eye out for Brimstone jewelry pieces there for your special occasion. Make that your first stop, brimstone-jewelry.com, for that special gift or just to treat yourself.
Right.
And we offer free shipping.
Yeah, online is always free shipping. Sure.
And you two have a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Thank you.
Well, welcome to the Mental Margarita Show. We're visiting with Frank Patek of Frank Patek Music, singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist. We've got some exciting things to talk about, hailing from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Weather's great here. How about where you're at?
You know, this is just a wonderful time of year. You know, it's warming up, and we get to take advantage of getting out to the water. If you need to cool off, you can go, and there's places to go and cool off too. So we get the best of both worlds, you know. But Las Vegas is hot any way you look at it, but the mountains are actually only an hour away. So, you know, we've got a ways to escape all that. So, but it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So we're excited to have you on the show. We've got a lot to talk about. You know, this music stuff started very young with you and your connection with your mother and music. So tell us a little bit about growing up in Milwaukee and how this came about.
It's well, growing up in Milwaukee, it's Milwaukee is what people like to call a larger city. It's not a very big city. It's I think it's 600,000, but it's like a large city with a small town feel. So it's like that's growing up in Milwaukee. It was great. I mean, you know, it's like any other regular city. When in regards to my mother, I used to, when I was really little, like as little as I can remember, like 3 years old, I would sing to my mom. And my mom would sing too. My mom was a singer too. And when she would hear me sing, she'd tell me, "Oh, you're going to be a big star one day." And, you know, she'd always encourage me. And then I have family members, sisters that would be the same way when I would sing. They're like, you know, one day you're going to be somebody, you know, so that encouraged me. And so that's a little bit about myself there.
Now, you play multiple instruments from guitar to bass, piano, drums. Which came first?
Guitar. My brother David gave me a chord book, let me use his acoustic guitar, and I, you know, played a couple of basic folk chords. And when I gave him back the guitar, there was blood on the frets because I played so much that I made my fingers bloody. So he's like, "Oh, you can have that now. I don't want that anymore."
Right.
Yeah. And then the other ones came because kind of the same way Paul McCartney did with piano. It was natural with piano. I understood, understood basic chording, bass noting, and that's that. And bass guitar is just really the lower notes of a regular guitar. So I started there, and then learned to do runs and things like that. So yeah, drums too. Drums is just natural. I'm not a very good drummer, but if you want me to keep a beat not steady with a metronome, I could keep that up for you, but not that good at a drummer. Can do rolls and things,
You
but it's
know,
not very basic.
the rhythm section's the most important because it holds everything together. You know, we never ever want to mess up the groove. I'm a keyboard player, and when I don't have a bass player, I've had to play left-handed bass. And you know, staying in the pocket is important, and you know, not straying and knowing what your place is and all of that good stuff. So it's a great talent and skill to have, to be multi instrumentalist. So I play other fun things like accordion, is in my list of things, which is fun.
Oh,
And music is just wonderful. But you know, I mentioned accordion just because I got to thinking about Milwaukee and just the whole polka. Um, History of polka, and you know, one of my mentors was Liberace, and he was from the Milwaukee area. So you know, a lot
yeah.
of great music came from that area. Now your lovely wife Kathy, she's a singer also and performs with you, is that right?
Yeah, in the band, the Frank Patek music is my music, and then I'm in a band called Inner Ally, and Inner Ally's got an album and a bunch of singles, and most of that stuff was written by me or the bass player. So the newer singles were written by the bass player and myself, and the album Hollywood, which was released in 2020, that's all my music. That's all the songs I've written. So got a little bit of a catalog going there.
Now we recently featured your single Shine Like Summer on the Second Opinion halftime segment on the Second Opinion Sports Show, which airs on the CW in Eastern North Carolina, which that was a really fun tune to kind of get you moving. And it's a very feel good song. Tell us a little bit about that and anything else that you're working on right now. Because you just put that
Well,
out, is that right?
yeah, that was released this month. That was it was my attempt to do something kind of different from what I always do. Um, if you listen to, I mean, you listen to my music, you'll notice I have an '80s feel for just about everything, and it's the way I sing the songs. It's the way my mannerisms. It's the way I sing. And I was trying to make that song not so '80s. I don't produce a lot of dance music, but the feedback is, wow, it's got an '80s feel. I'm like, oh boy, I guess I didn't do it there. But you know, '80s music is great music, and so I'm kind of happy with it. I think it turned out pretty
It
well.
was 80s was a great time, a great decade. We were experimenting with so many different sounds. The synthesizer had its place and there was new stuff around every corner. And you know, it was a great era of music. And then so were the 60s and 70s. And you know, each decade has its gems, you know. So who were some of your influences? You know, you play multiple instruments, so I know that you've sat and listened to the greats at just about all of
Wow.
them. So
Right.
who's the biggest influencer?
Biggest influencer. Let's see. That's really hard. Um, I'm a professionally trained singer. So yeah, big influencer when I was a little kid was Kiss. My guy was Paul Stanley because he was the lead singer. As a matter of fact, um, I was a singer until I heard his 1979 solo album. And the first song off that album is called "Tonight You Belong to Me," and he does a thing where he does a bunch of 12 strings together, guitars, and then he hits a hard part. Like he goes, uh, and when he does it in live in a solo act, he goes, "I'm now ready for the good part." It's just a good regular guitar run. But when I heard that at 9 years old, I said, "Man, I gotta play guitar. I want to do that. Like I want to play guitar like that." So he influenced me to play guitar. Um, let's see. Elton John is a big influence. REO Speedwagon, Kevin Cronin, because again, being a singer, I love what he can do with his voice, what he did with his voice. Barry Manilow lately Barry Manilow, because he's like such a great singer, such a great showman. singers pretty much, those are my influences. If you find, say, Elvis Presley, big influence when I was growing up, in my teens, big influence. Sisters introduced me to Elvis, and I was like floored by his voice.
What's the best way for people to reach out to you to become a fan, to follow what you're doing, see what's coming out?
The best thing to do is follow me on Facebook, Frank Patek Music on Facebook. Everything goes there first. That gets transferred to Twitter. I think I can't remember what my Twitter handle is. I know that I think it's Rocksalt, ROCSALT, at Rocksalt. It's Facebook. You can also find, like I said, other music of mine on myinnerally.com. You'll see our catalog there. Again, most of that music's mine. But if you want to find out what's going on with me right now, it's Frank Patek Music on Facebook. Don't have a website quite yet. Working on it.
All right, wonderful. Well, we'll make sure that the audience knows how to get a hold of you, how to connect, book you, if there's something they may want to do something with you or the band or, just whatever the case may be. We definitely are excited to share your music. Now folks are going to be hearing it in Las Vegas and nationwide through the show. So it's very exciting. Well, we thank you so much for visiting with us on the show. And we look forward to those updates and more music to come.
I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. Thanks so much.
Late nights on drives, chasing light. Every mile's another fight, but we carry on in every song, singing out where we belong. Skull in my steps, wind in my frame. We don't break, we bend, we shine like summer, burn to the haze. Set the stage, turn and light, let the healing flow. With a spark in the stereo, we shine like summer, never fade.